find out, they keep telling us the numbers of who are precinct officials and who are precinct chairs, like the numbers, but they wouldn't give us the information. So I finally, we had sort of an educational meeting after pushing them for a bit, and they sent us out a list. So I finally have a list as of this week.
Great, great. That's fantastic. Yeah, we have the same problem here. We have some legislative district chairs who say, "Oh, well, I'm not going to give you my list." Our county bylaws in Maricopa County specifically state every legislative district chairman is supposed to compile a list, obviously, so they can send out call letters, and then give that list to any precinct committeeman who asks for it. And a lot of them won't do it. There's only one solution to that: remove them if need be. But, if you don't have a majority of conservatives, you can't remove the rhino. And so that's why we've got to build a conservative majority.
Yeah, what happened with us is that the county chair was having a meeting with all the precinct chairs and said, what do you need? What did we give you good information with your training? Because they did do a few trainings, and then people, said all this stuff. And then he said, well, if you guys want to meet amongst yourselves, you can, blah, blah, blah. So that was my opportunity to stand up and say, hey, but I only know a couple of people because I'm new, how do we get to know everybody? Like, how do we send anything to everybody if we're working on something even in our district? I couldn't get the district chair to give us everybody's emails. So that kind of put them on the spot in front of everybody. So they provided the list, but it's a real struggle without Facebook anymore to connect with people in groups, I'm finding. So we're just keep. So that'll be good if we could do that on either Network America or PILD. I was hoping that Robert would have that done.
We've got to get off these big tech platforms.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Very true.
So I see that in North Carolina there's a lot of like little meetings popping up all over for different things on the audit. What's his name that does the voter registration? The really tall guy. I don't know why I can't remember his name.
Seth Keshel.
Not Seth, but the one with the long hair, the voter registration campaigning. Scott Pressler. Yeah, he's coming to 2 places. Seth Keshel's coming nearby. Carrie and I are working on something. Carrie Donovan and I are working on something. I don't want to say anything yet because it's not set, but so there's a lot of activity going on. Just the whole precinct thing is just really, really a grind. So I'm not giving up, but I'm just saying, but every month in our county, we're getting a couple more. We had every month, it's like 4 new people. So slowly but surely.
Okay, you want to start?
Yes.
Okay. Is anybody on the call new?
I don't think so.
So Eddie Spencer, you've been on these calls before? You're muted. And what about Richard Michael?
Yeah, they have. I believe they both have been.
Okay, so if we don't have anybody new, let's forego the there's Mom of 9 just popped on. Great. Let's forego any kind of overview discussion for 10 minutes because it's really not needed. I guess the only thing I wanted to talk about was this development that happened. I don't remember what day it was. Dr. Q called me. Was that a whole week ago? Or was that last Sunday, or was it Monday, Tuesday of this past week?
I want to say no, it was not even a week, maybe 5 days, something.
Okay. All right. So anyways, So Dr. Q calls me out of the blue and says, hey, Dan, I've got this guy who has access to Donald Trump, unfiltered. And you want to talk to him. And I said, well, who is it? And he tells me who it is. I won't say who it is, but you guys on this call would all probably recognize this person. And I'm not going to give away the identity because that's going to jinx it. And so he was at an airport, and Dr. Q got us on a three-way call. And so the thing that impressed me the most about the guy is he just listened to me. And Dr. Q had already told him about who I was and a little bit about the precinct committeeman strategy, and the fact that one, and some of the things I said to him, he agreed with. One of the things that I said to him was this. Well, first I confirmed, dude, now you really can actually talk to Donald Trump one-on-one, unfiltered. He goes, yes. He says he does it about once a month. And I said, you need to go to my site, precinctstrategy.com. You need to study the graphics that are there, study the overview of the strategy, and especially watch that video I created in January of 2020. That's on the site. You just scroll down to it. I explained where to go to listen to it and watch that, because that was geared toward Trump. And that whole idea was this: Trump, and I think all three of us on the call agreed that first off, he agreed there are people around Trump who don't want Trump, who do not have Trump's best interest in heart, nor the country's. And they filter out all good ideas from Trump. And so, but he can't be filtered because he has actually a personal relationship with him. So he said that he would take the precinct committeeman strategy idea to Trump one-on-one as soon as possible and explain it to him. And I asked him to do the following. I said, I don't have to be on the call, I don't have to be there, but that would be most effective. But I this guy's really smart guy, and I think he's got common sense as well. And based on the conversation I had with him and Dr. Q, I believe he's going to be able to explain this just as well as I would. So and Trump doesn't know me from Adam, but I told him, please tell him who I am, tell him about the book, tell him that I've been trying to get in touch with him, and tell him this, if you, Donald Trump, oh, and he also knows Mike Lindell, this guy, same thing, has personal access to him through no filter. Said, think of it, if you could get to this guy yourself, who's already fairly well known, and Lindell and Trump to all say the same thing everywhere they go, and that is, we the people have to fix this. Trump has alluded to it. He basically said, when they're coming after me, they're not coming after me, they're coming after you. And he's also said, he said it in the inaugural address, he said it in his farewell address, he said it in some of his speeches. He lays it out. He goes, look, we are going to take the country back only if you take the country back. But he doesn't explain how to do it. And that's the failing. People don't know how to do it. People don't know what to do. And it's so simple, our precinct committeeman strategy. It's so simple. And if we just focused on it, I said, listen, if you and Lindell and Trump would just focus on this for a month, every public event you went to and talked about it and created a buzz about it, in a month, we would take over the party. And it would be, it would look like this, outside the meetings. Every monthly meeting of every Republican committee would look like that. There'd be a line out the door, people trying to get in there and fill a vacancy before they all got filled. That's what we need. And so I'm hopeful that that's going to happen. And so I'm going through the numbers right now. Maricopa County, my county, where the audit is happening, we are now over 50% of strength as a county. We have some legislative district committees. One is at 87.4%. Another one is at 73%. And I don't have all of the percentages yet, but the average is, it's not 36.5% like it was. It's over 50%. It's 52 something. My legislative district 18, we're at 57.5%. That's the highest we've ever been. And the gross number of precinct committeemen in Maricopa County is 3,902. And that, I think that's what it is. You know, bear with me, I got a broken arm. Let's see here. Yeah. Where is it? Where is it going? Yeah, 3,902. The Dems only have 1,633. But supposedly they won the election here in Maricopa County, you know. And so the most we ever had was about 7 or 8 years ago when we had 3,550. I was the secretary of the county committee then. We got up to 3,550 in the off-year election, and then it dropped down after the primary election. It's usually what happens. But 3,902, that's the most ever. And 52.2, that's not the highest percentage ever. We were at 55% in Maricopa County when we had the 3,550. But being at 52.2% this early in the game, in the cycle, that's really, really good news. And I know that it's more than that, because we've been submitting people, and some of the legislative district chairs are vetting people like they're not supposed to, and it's causing lags in people getting appointed as quickly as they can. So we're having some very good success here. But you know, my goal is to get it to 100% strength. And when I send out an email later tonight saying I'm going to run for second vice chairman, one of the things that the second vice chairman does is outreach to all the clubs, the Republican clubs. And I'm going to tell the 29 people who will be voting as to who to become the new second vice chairman. There's an opening because the guy who was the second vice chairman, it was a good conservative, but he's also a reserve officer, and his whatever unit he's in is getting very active again, and he may have been recalled to active duty for all I know, and so he had to resign. He didn't feel like he could commit enough time to the position. So I'm hoping that I'll get elected. There's another young guy who's running. His name's Brian Ferentz. He's a brand new PC. They may give him the nod because he's young. That's okay. Brian's a great guy. I just want to make sure that we don't have a rhino take that position and then not do anything with it. So onward and upward in Maricopa County. So I that's all I had tonight. I wanted to give you the good news about the possibility that somebody's going to talk to Donald Trump. I'm going to cross my fingers and pray that that happens. Hope all of you will do the same. And that's all I have. So why don't we just start a discussion? Anybody got anything that they want to add to the discussion?
Yeah, I had a very good encounter yesterday with people in my area, neck of the wood, Cincinnati, Ohio. And I know that we have to focus on what we are doing. However, one of the things that I do, and my friend actually do, is to revitalize the town square discussions, meaning we actually took our big TV and we televised the Donald Trump rally and wanted to see people's reaction. We were in a very liberal neighborhood, and I expected people yelling at us and making fun of us, but no, surprisingly, 95% of people loved it. They loved Donald Trump. Only maybe a couple of people, you know, kind of make fun of us, but majority of people, they flip, and they are ready. So this is a good opportunity to recruit. Just, you know, this is a great time because you can interfere with what the enemy is doing, and what the enemy is doing, they're making it worse for themselves. She said, this is the best time to just go to these events. Like today, a friend of mine, Hassan, is in this call most of the time, but with a different pseudonym. But she's a Korean lady. Her parents are Korean. And she goes to these kind of events and recruit people. Like today, she went to the anti, mandate on vaccination in front of the Children's Hospital. So this is great. These are the people that we need. Just wanted to point out that, and do these things, but at the same time recruit more people.
Yeah.
And Dr. Ed, you're from California, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, I'm from California.
I forgot, is it San Diego County, if I'm not mistaken?
No, it's Marin County, right in the bowels of the beast up
I
above
see.
San Francisco.
Okay. Okay. So you're actually in a rough neighborhood, basically. I mean, when it comes to,
Yeah.
liberalism and Chinese, influence that area. What do you think about Larry Elder?
Well, I think first in his favor, he's not Gavin Newsom.
Okay.
That's quite a lot.
Yeah.
And then I think he's probably okay. I just read something about him in the paper today. He was sort of outlined, and I think mostly he's okay. I think he doesn't know as much as he should,
Okay.
but why should he, given that everything is done to make everybody as dumb as is possible? I mean, I've been trying to get the word on primary water out because they're drying us out. But I do know somebody who knows him. I'd like to get him on this call a couple of times. I've invited people from the South to be on the call. I mean, California is very difficult. I think it's very, and I think it's the point of the spear to take us into communism. It actually may be the most advanced in going downhill to nothing intentionally, because it's such a powerful state. And all the food is grown here, and they'd like to stop that. I mean, we don't need food, right? When we can be communist. So Larry Elder, I think, is a possible good person. I'll actually make a call right now to somebody who knows him and see if it can get him involved in this. Make that contact. That's what I
Yes.
think you need to do.
Please. Because this is huge. I wanted to approach him, but I said, like, let's talk to Dr. Ed about it. Maybe someone that would be better, because me calling him out of the blue is kind of weird, and somebody needs to give him more information. You're absolutely right. This guy is a good guy, but he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's the one who's likely going to succeed if the corruption can be overcome. And I think Newsom is worried.
Yeah, he's getting close to Newsom. Yes, this is very good, especially if we can bring him or bring one of his friends on our call. Then that would be great, because then we can educate him and his team to what to do in California.
Okay, well, I'll make the call right now.
I appreciate it.
Hey, Eddie Spencer, is Ron Unz still in California and active?
I don't know, Ron.
Ron Unz, UNZ. He was a kind of a libertarian.
Oh yeah.
Technologist. And then the other guy is I can't remember his name, but he was a conservative. I want to say it was Sequoia Semiconductors or something like that. He also was very involved politically. It's kind of Ayn Randian, objectivist, libertarian. You know, again, I can't remember the guy's name. And both of those guys were active like 20 years ago.
Yeah. I don't know them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the guy that you're talking about, I guess, is this guy, Ron Ons, if I'm not mistaken. Is it this guy, Ron Ons?
Yep, that's him.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I don't know. Like, yeah, this is a good question. Yeah, I don't know if he's doing anything lately, but yeah, he was a cool, approachable guy, actually.
Yeah.
And yeah, but the more we get into this, you know, the one good thing about Larry Elder is, he's not connected to the deep state or the establishment or the rhinos, any of that. He's just, he doesn't have the knowledge, but he's got the, purity in heart. So he can basically, if he gets enough information, I guess he could be a good governor for California. At
Yeah.
least, we are to the point that, I'm so upset with what's going on with California that I prefer Arnold Schwarzenegger than over these, the cult of Nancy Pelosi, I'm to that point. But obviously, Larry Elder is way better than any of those people around him. And I understand that there are some people who could be better than Larry Elder, but they don't have that influence yet. He's an influential person, and he's got his own radio and everything. All right. So, Roy, you want to speak? You're next. Go ahead.
Well, I just had a question for the group because I'm somewhat new at this. Our county meeting, I received an email that the executive committee canceled the meeting for this month for the Republican Party here in my county, which is Nassau County, Florida. And I'm wondering, no one asked, I didn't get an email asking me to cast my vote, what the reasons might be, but how do you think a new delegate, a new member of the Republican Executive Committee here ought to respond to this, to say, to sort of get at what was behind it? The phrase in the email was extenuating circumstances. Unfortunately, the speaker that we had lined up based on what was announced in previous meetings for our get together in August was going to be the school board president, whose husband is the state committeeman for Nassau County and here in Florida. So the Republican State Committee has one representative from each of the 69 counties, and our representative's wife is the president of the school board for Nassau County. So it's a connected family, and so I'm open to suggestions on how to drill down. Is this an opportunity, I think, maybe to rally some of the fence sitters that are already in the room, that are part of the executive committee, that have lived in Nassau County longer than me, to say, hey, we should all be informed on a better level for this, and kind of put some people on notice? Or am I just, trying to puff myself up to make some noise, and it won't really amount to anything? You just let this go? It just doesn't seem right. And it seems like I already know there's a two-tier system within our executive committee. There's the lifelongers that have been there, that are the Rhino establishment, and now there's the America Firsters that we're kind of trickling in as we move into the area, and we learn about the precinct committee project, and we're learning from each other. So, I think right now we're only about 30%, maybe 40 at the most, but and the committeeman capacity is running at just a little over 50%. As far as vacancies filled. So there's room to grow. I mean, there's room for the MAGA people to overtake this county committee.
Yeah.
If we don't shoot ourselves in the foot here in this transition time. So I'm open to suggestions. I feel like this is an opportunity, but I don't want to blow it. So I'm asking for input.
Okay, so probably what happens, this is just my guess, is so your school board in Florida, in your county, are they allowing the kids to come to school without masks?
No. So here's what they are. The answer to that is yes, but in the most convoluted of ways.
Yeah.
And it was just decided this past week. So that was all happening, it would have happened in the same week. I think the school board meeting was on Tuesday. Our meeting would have been on Thursday of the same week. I didn't go to the school board meeting, but I read about it this weekend in the local paper, the results. And one of my coworkers who has neighbors who have children in the school district said that the ruling is as follows. The board's policy is recommending that children wear masks and staff wear masks at all times on school property. But if parents fill out a form, they can opt out of having their children come to school with a mask. So they're making the parents go through another homage to the bureaucracy, if you will,
Yeah.
in order to maintain their duly family parental rights over their children. To me, it's, as my friend at work said, what's the point of a mandate
Right.
of having a policy if you're going to give people a reason to opt out of it, a means to opt out of it? Why don't they just keep their nose out of it from the get-go?
Right. My recommendation is, well, first off, like I said, I that's why I asked the question. I believe it probably has something to do with the guy doesn't want to get bombarded by questions by people at the meeting about this issue. Because
Okay.
of his life. That's probably what's driving it. So what
Okay.
do? They cancel the meeting, but you have every right to ask, why'd you cancel the meeting? So you said you have like 30% of the existing members now are America Firsters. Are you
That's my guess.
Are you networked with all of them?
No.
Okay,
No,
that's what
not-
you have. See, that's what you have to do. We were talking about it earlier about communication. You need to develop a network of all of them. So here's how to
Okay.
do it. Do you have a list of all the existing precinct chairs? Or precinct committeemen?
No, but it won't be difficult to get.
Okay, so
I don't think it will be difficult.
your county board of elections should have that. Of course, the party should give it to you, but a lot of them won't give it to you, just like here. Our bylaws state that every precinct committeeman has a right to the list of all the other precinct committeemen. Our bylaws say that, our county bylaws say that, but some of the legislative district chairs either don't compile the list, or if they have the list, and they have to have it to send out meeting notices, right?
Yes.
Letters, but then they make up some gobbledygook about, well, there's privacy issues. Then that's bullshit. There's no privacy issue. You're a precinct committee.
That's right.
You're supposed to be available to everybody else in the precinct who's a Republican to answer questions and get help, right? To say that there's a privacy issue is completely stupid and disingenuous.
It is disingenuous.
Here's what we did. Here's what we did years ago. This was over 10 years ago, when we ran a slate of conservatives to take out the rhinos in my old prior legislative district, 17 at that time. This was before redistricting, so it was over 10 years ago. Those of us who knew one another, who were conservative, we got the list. And then we called a meeting of everybody that we knew who we believed to be conservatives. And we met at a Denny's in a back room. There was about 15 of us. And we had about 109, 110 precinct committeeman slots filled at that time, and going into the organizational meeting after the primary election. And so each one of us, I made enough copies for each person. I handed out copies to each person. And then I started and I said, just follow along with me. Okay. And I went down the list and I said, I think this person is a conservative. I think this person is not. And I don't know about this person. So I had on my thing a C if they were a conservative, an R if they were a rhino, and blank if I didn't know. So I went through my list. And then as I was going through the list, then somebody would say about one or the other people that I said, well, I'm not so sure that they're all that conservative after all. And here's why. I don't think, or this person you say is a rhino, I'm not so sure that they're a rhino. And so this was just my opinion at that time. Okay, when I got done, then we went to the next person. And then that person went through their views on these people. And then we went to the next person. And when we were all done, we figured out we had 40 to 45% that we knew were conservatives. Okay. And then, but likewise, 40 to 45% we knew were rhinos. But then there was those in between people. Okay. So the unknowns, we had, like I said, we had 12 to 15 people there, and there were maybe 30 people or 20 people that were unknowns. So that what we did is we divided the number of unknowns by the number of people who were there. So each one of us had 2 or 3 people that we had to reach out to, because we had a slate of candidates. We had people who volunteered. I'll run for chair. I'll run for first vice chairs. I think we have a second vice chair. I think we had a second vice chair, treasurer, and secretary. So we had 5 candidates. And so then each one of us reached out to the unknowns, and we came up with a strategy to just feel them out. And the easy way to feel them out was this: hey, we've got a conservative slate that we're thinking about running for the upcoming officer election at the organizational meeting. Would you support them? And I remember it, one group that I reached out to was a group of 3. It was a guy in about his 40s who was living at home with his really elderly parents up in Scottsdale. And God bless these people. The little old lady in tennis shoes, she was in her 90s. She said to me, well, I don't know if I can support these people. I don't really know them. Right. And so then I said, well, who they were and that they were conservatives, and I know them. And, so then we knew based on that all 3 of those folks, we probably had their votes. Okay. Because they were conservatives. And then we completed the list. We walked into that meeting knowing we had a really good chance of electing everybody who was a conservative. We had succeeded in electing everybody except the chairman. And the reason the chairman didn't get elected, our candidate, he stands up at the microphone. He didn't even prepare a speech. He just stands up and he goes, well, shucks, I'm Tom and I'm running with these other good people. And well, kind of because nobody else wanted to run. So I decided to run, and then the guy who beats him stands up, this long-term rhino, and he pretends to be real conservative and says, I've been doing this for 30 years and I think I bring this to the table and that to the table. So He wins for chair, but the rest of our people won. Well, 2 months later, he ends up resigning, the rhino chairman, because he couldn't get along with anybody.
Yeah.
He wouldn't cooperate with anybody. And we told him, we're gonna recall you. And the word got out that he was going to get recalled. And the way to recall it here is you have to have 50% plus 1 of the existing PCs to ask the county committee to call a special recall meeting. Well, word got out that we were going to do it and we had the votes, so he resigned. So that took care of itself. So then we had a new election, and another person, good person, ran and got elected, a good conservative, who ended up becoming our county chairman eventually, AJ LaFaro, who's no longer active in the party as a PC. But that's what I recommend you do: is you get the list, and then see if once you've got the network, then it won't be just you sending an email. It'll be all 30 or 40 of you, the 30 or 40%, all of you saying, hey, you just canceled a meeting. I wanted to go to that meeting. Why did you cancel it?
Yeah.
It's not just one person asking, it's 30 or 40 people.
Yeah.
That's what we have to do. And then eventually, of course, you guys keep recruiting and recruiting and recruiting. And as you recruit more conservatives, you add them to your conservative caucus. And eventually, once you're in the majority, you don't need your conservative caucus organization anymore because you'll be running the show.
Yeah.
And then oftentimes what happens is once the rhinos in charge figure out, the conservatives finally figured out how to do it. Like they did here in legislative district 15, and like they did in a few other counties around the country, like they did in Clark County, Nevada. They did in counties in North Carolina, counties in Georgia that just went through their election cycle. So that's what you got to do, is get organized.
Yeah.
And again, once we've got this platform that you can do it on easily, then it'll make everybody's life easy. You could do it on Network America right now. They have a pretty good platform for doing it.
Okay.
And it's private and secure.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dan.
Sure.
I really like the group vetting format. You know, that you had, I think, in the back room at the Denny's or wherever it was. I mean, because that way everyone is learning a little about their neighbors, and the trust level can go way up within the group in just in one afternoon. I mean, what you could, the amount of good you could accomplish in that kind of a format is just, it's immeasurable. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Anybody else got anything for tonight? Ideas on how better to recruit, ideas on getting to Trump, ideas on getting to Lindell, ideas to getting to Bannon. You know, Bannon never really talks about the precinct committeeman strategy anymore. I send him success stories every week, 2 or 3. Oh, it's terrific, you know, epic. You know, I get a 1-word response back, and then it goes down the memory hole.
I'm trying to get a hold of Patrick Byrne, because nowadays Patrick Byrne is very close to General Flynn. And I'm not going to say anything because I'm still waiting for some emails, you know, a bunch of emails that I sent. So, but Dr. Ed, you said that you were able to talk to that person, Bradley, did you say? His name was
Brady. Yeah, Brady is his name.
Oh, Brady, sorry.
Yeah, and he does know. He says he's one phone call away from Elder, and that he will work on. And it seems like a very high probability of getting Elder to talk to Dan.
This is
Okay.
great.
So, and he'll call me. He will work this through me.
Thank you so much for doing that. Anything with that nature is a great success for our group. Mom of 9 from Wisconsin, you're next.
Hi. I sent email to Dan. I don't know if you got it, but it was the Brown County Constitution from Wisconsin, and I guess they have some kind of victory committee or something that they're running, like they restructured a couple of years ago. And I sent it to you, and he's trying to say that, oh, well, we don't need the precinct strategy because we already have this victory committee. And then he showed me a picture of the layout, like, you know, the chair runs this committee, the vice chair and the second vice chair run this other committees, and I don't know. I couldn't make sense of it.
It's all
And apparently he had a death in the family, or
it's all crap.
I don't know, like, I can't work with him then. So what do you say? I mean, I got O'Connell County down. All I have to do, the chair's on board with me. I just have to find people now. But as far as Brown County, that's the most populous county, like in the north part of the state. So there's a whole bunch of people that want to do this from Brown County, but they don't know what to do now because the chair is not on board with it. You know, he's not going to appoint people. He's not going to, you know, sign on to it. So what do you do when that happens?
Well, first off, are you connected with all of the other people in all of the other counties that sent, that I've been communicating with, like Greg Luce in Cross County, and I don't know, there's 11, 12, 13, 14 of you people in Wisconsin that should be comparing notes and having these conversations that we're having right now in Wisconsin, because,
Yeah,
you know, in
not.
Wisconsin,
go ahead.
yeah, somebody said victory committees are from the RNC. If it's, remember Trump victory, that's a misnomer. That was like, let's make Trump lose from the RNC. It's designed to just spend lots of money and do outreach to people who are going to vote anyways, not the lower information, lower propensity voters. So, Mom of Nine, what I've done is I have a list of all the people in Wisconsin that I've been talking to. I cannot remember their names off the top of my head, and I don't have the list on my computer, and I have a busted arm and trying to pull it up on, I'm not going to be able to do it. But you said you sent me something. To what email address did you send it? And when did you send it?
To the precinct, Dan at precinctstrategy.com.
And when?
Probably last week.
Okay, I didn't see
last week, I think. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'll try to send it again.
Please
take a
do.
look
And then
at
I'll
it.
send
Like
you, and
highlight-
I'll send back to you all of my Wisconsin contacts. And then all of you need to get either on or both networkamerica.org's platform and also the pill.net platform, and start. You could be like, for example, if you go on to my site and go to the connect with other conservatives in your state and hit that button, that'll take you to the pill.net precinct strategy group. Then apply to become a member. Then one of us will approve you. Once you're in, watch the tutorial video. It's real short. And then you'll see that there is a chat room for Wisconsin, and there's also a folder, a file folder for Wisconsin documents. What I would like to see you do, and everybody else in every county in Wisconsin, is upload to that folder the whatever the Republican Party of Wisconsin calls its bylaws, whether that's a constitution. Some states, they'll have bylaws, they'll have a constitution, and then they'll even have a rules of procedure. Okay. Well, here in Arizona, we have a state committee bylaws, county committee bylaws, and then legislative district committee bylaws. That's it. Okay. So, but whatever it's called in Wisconsin, get those documents in digital form or PDF form, and then upload them to this folder and start sharing the information and reading this stuff and learning how it works. The way it was supposed to work, the way it did work in Wisconsin when I grew up in Wisconsin back in the 60s and 70s. I went to Badger Boy State. They walked us through the whole thing. There was a Republican Party and there was a Democratic Party. They set up like two fake parties. I don't know, red and white maybe. And anyways, what we did is we formed political parties and we elected ward captains. The voters in each ward elected a ward captain. The ward captains then were members, got to go to the county meeting and vote for the county chairman, just like that you did in real life. They walked us through those steps. The American Legion did. And I know that they've canceled the last 3 years because of 2 years at least, and this year again because of COVID. Ridiculous. Anyways, make sure you dumb the kids down. Don't do anything. But anyways, as I understand it, that can be undone. There was something in the law. What probably happened is this. I moved away from Wisconsin, so this is just supposition on my part. The Democrats and the Republicans got together, and in the legislature, they passed a law saying you can get rid of this and you can all do it top down now. And so they did. But you can go back. I've read the statute. You can go back to it but you've got to get enough
Yeah.
people organized to do it, to go back to it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else got anything? Sue? You gotta unmute yourself.
Yeah, there we go. So
There you go.
if you remember, I went ahead and started a channel on Telegraph, trying to recruit people that are working on the audit, on the state audits. And right now, I have over 60 people on the channel, who many of whom have expressed interest in signing up to be a precinct captain. And
Great.
you're right, yeah, and I'm really enthused in one respect and then discouraged in another respect, because I'm keeping track of by county and I don't have a lot of people in the same county, but when I do have people in the same county, I'm trying to connect them, but it seems like it is the general feedback is that they're getting a lot of pushback from the counties, that they're saying we don't do appointments, that you have to be elected. And that's just not right. Is that correct? Is that
What
just,
state? What state?
we're in Ohio, sorry, in Ohio.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't live in Ohio. Dr. Q, you're in Ohio, aren't you?
Mhm.
Yes,
I mean,
I,
our county in Montgomery County where I am, they just did a whole bunch of appointments.
Yeah.
right.
I don't know. See, it varies from state to state. So here in Arizona, the way it works is the county chairman is the only person who can do an appointment,
Yes.
has full discretion. And they can say, you know what? I like everything just the way it is. And sure, I might have it might look like this every month at my meeting, people wanting to get appointed, volunteer, and we're at 50% or less strength. I don't give a crap. I'm not appointing anybody. Pennsylvania's like that. I know a county there where that happened. The county chairman got approached by some people. You know what? We could take this 30% strength county committee and bring it to 100% strength. I know how to do it. Oh, that sounds great. Well, then they thought about it, and then the county chair said, sorry, not only are you not going to do any of that stuff, they were going to revamp the website, start a communications net, all the thing that needs to be done. He said, we're not going to do any of it. Why? Because he knew that he was going to be gone eventually. That was the end of his career politically, because he hadn't done any of that, right? So he said, not only can you not do it, I'm not even going to let you come to our meetings, which are private, right? He has a power to do that. So it varies. So what you got to do is this: if you run into a chairman who has not, I assume in Ohio is very similar to Arizona in many respects. I assume in Ohio, it's the county chairman who has full authority whether to approve or not. Now in Florida, the way it works in Florida, you've got to go to 2 meetings, and then at your second meeting, a vote is taken by the membership who shows up, if there's a quorum, to approve you. And the chairman has a vote. Roy just said, yeah, that's the way it works, right?
Yeah, it's 3 meetings.
3 meetings. Okay,
Yeah.
3 meetings. Okay. And so, but we don't have that. That's not the way it works in Arizona. Every state's unique. So you've got to read and study your bylaws. And if you read and study your bylaws, then find out, how does it work in Ohio? Who's got the authority? And if that person has sole discretion, then what you need to do is this. Let's say that it's they and only they, the chairman has the discretion. Okay, and you've got all these people wanting to apply, have them apply. But then you know who they are. Now you start networking with all those who applied and didn't get approved, and keep networking and ask them to keep recruiting and grow a shadow party, right? Grow a shadow party And then when it comes time for the next election, when is the next election in Ohio? Is it every 4 years or 2 years for precinct committeeman?
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years. Okay, so every 2 years, you can you can get rid of this person, but you've got to grow a network of people who then will, it only takes 5 signatures to run to get on the ballot in Ohio. Only 5.
Yes.
Okay, so recruit, have a shadow organization. And you might get to the point where if your shadow organization is larger than the existing committee, then all of you go en masse to a meeting one month and submit your paperwork, show up and say, I want to become a member of this committee, and I know there's a vacancy in my precinct, and do it that way. How can they turn you away? And if they do turn you away, then you know that they're rhinos.
Okay, so here's my question for you is there's the state of Ohio bylaws on precinct captain, but then is there also something at the county level? Or does the state rule?
Probably, yeah. Well, no, the way it works is there's state statutes in your election code about how the parties are run. Minimum requirements. Then your state committee bylaws, that's what it's called in Ohio. I don't remember if it's called constitution, bylaws, rules. The rules of the Republican Party of the RNC, they're not called bylaws, they're called rules of the Republican Party. In Arizona, our state committees rules are called bylaws. I don't know what they're called in Ohio, but yeah, there's going to be the state committee, because remember, it's an upside down pyramid. Precinct committeemen are up here, okay? And then in Ohio, they elect county people, right? Counties. And then below that is the state committee. And then the state committee has 3 people that go to the RNC. Upside down pyramid. Precinct committeemen are the power, all the power. And then it filters down to the 168 members of the RNC. So yeah, you got to get a copy of your county bylaws. And then do you guys have assembly district committees? For like your legislature districts that we do here in Arizona. We have 30 legislative districts. We have 15 counties, and they're not contiguous. So in Maricopa County, we have 20 of the 30 legislative districts have committees in Maricopa County. And then those legislative district chairs are also members of the county executive committee. But that's just the way it works here in Arizona. Ohio's probably totally different. The bottom line is, I used to say when I would talk to groups, read and study the bylaws once you become a precinct committeeman. Now I say, once you become a precinct committeeman, read and study the bylaws, then read and study the bylaws, and then read and study the bylaws. You need to have a copy of the bylaws with you at all times, okay? Mine.
But I guess what we need those
Here,
from the county. It's like we're trying to put the chicken.
What's that say there? Bylaws for meetings. These are the bylaws that I take to every meeting. Okay, I've got physical copies that I have. Okay. Here's
okay, I get that, but you're so fortunate that you have a folder of them. So
they're online.
My county, I can't find bylaws for my Republican.
Then call your county committee chairman and say, I'd like a copy of the bylaws, please.
Okay, because
what county are you in?
I'm in Montgomery County. Okay. But I mean, it's all of these other people that aren't active in the party yet necessarily, and we're trying to figure out the process for each county, and it's pretty overwhelming, and it's difficult for people who are not involved in the party. They don't have a huge network. And so, I mean, I'm just throwing it out here that these are the roadblocks that we're running into.
Yeah, I know it. I know it. So here's what you have to do. Look, I can't remember what I have on my website about Ohio. Dr. Q.
Yes.
Is there a precinct committeeman handbook for Ohio, for the Ohio Republican Party?
Yes. As a matter
of Sue, do you have a copy of that?
Yes, but it's from 2015.
Have you read it? Okay, well, It's probably the same.
Yeah, it's the
2000
same thing. It's right
Okay,
there.
probably nothing has changed unless they change some of the statutes. Okay, you got to read and study that book, that handbook, guidebook, whatever it's called. Then you need to get a copy of your state bylaws. You need to go online and print out. See, the reason the handbook is so important is usually if the person who wrote the handbook has a brain, they're going to have in it citations to the statutes for the requirements of the party. And then you can look up the statute. Not only do I have this folder, this is just my bylaws folder. I also have another one over there that says election code statute relating to the parties. Okay. And I take that with me because people will stand up at meetings and say these ridiculous things about how the parties operate, and we're public officials as precinct committee, but no, we're not public officials. We may have been elected through a public election because our state decided to do that and let the government run the elections. But just because we got elected in a primary election, that doesn't make us a public official. The other thing that happens here in Arizona, they take an oath of office for precinct committeeman. Well, what if you didn't make it that meeting and you never took the oath? Are you still a precinct committeeman? It's meaningless. It's just a meaningless gesture. There's no statute that says you have to take an oath of office because you're not a public official. You're a member of a private group like a yacht club.
Yes.
That's what the parties are. And you got to know what the rules are. So you've got to, if there is a handbook, get the handbook, then get the election code statutes. And then again, this is why I'm trying to build this sharing network. Network America has it too, where you can add documents. We got to get my ideal will be for Ohio on the pill.net site. In the folder for Ohio, there'll be whatever the state bylaws are, there'll be a copy. And then for every other county, there'll be the bylaws. And then there'll be the precinct committeeman handbook for Ohio. That's what we need to do. And we have to read this stuff. And because the rhinos do read it, they've been at this for 30 years. And they take advantage of our lack of knowledge.
Yes.
Because they don't teach it in school anymore. It's all 7th grade stuff. I learned it in 7th grade, but they don't teach it in 7th grade anymore. Apparently.
What you see on the screen is they call it permanent rules.
Okay, permanent rules.
Yeah.
Is that for the state?
Yes, the state of Ohio.
Okay, so there you go, Sue. There it is.
Yeah,
I know, I saw it, but honestly, when it says 2015, I'm like, oh gosh.
No.
Right. So I skimmed through it, but if you're telling me that it's valid, even though it's 2015, okay. I mean, I'll study it more carefully, but even still, that's the state. But then I have to go, okay, I'm going to go to my county tomorrow and ask them, county party, for their rules, bylaws, whatever. But I'm a precinct captain, or committeeman. But what about the folks that want to become one? They don't know anybody in the party. They don't. I mean, if they call up and say, I want a list of or a copy of your rules, they're not going to get one.
Can I
Well,
say
they ought
something?
to, but see, you have to be the tip of the spear now. You're in the thick of it now. You've got to be the leader. You've got to be the go-to person. We need people like you to step up and become that person who now knows this stuff. And again, remember, it's 7th grader stuff. It's real simple. You got the bylaws, the rules of the road, the bylaws. Then if there's a precinct committeeman handbook, you read and study it. And then see if you can find online older versions of the precinct committeeman handbook. Because here in Arizona, we have older versions that I have found online. And the older ones are always better than the newer ones. Because the people in charge always try to water everything down. So they dumb you down. And so I've got copies that go back to like 2005 precinct committeeman handbooks. They're much better than the current one. But you just got to learn this stuff. Somebody in each state has to learn this stuff.
May I make
You
a
can do it, Sue.
suggestion?
Yeah.
Okay, so my suggestion would be if you could ask someone that you know in your county party if they have a connection to some of those counties that where you have people that are interested, and see if you can network your way for them. But also, I would tell those people to go to the meetings anyway, even if they're told they can't be a precinct, they can't be involved in the precinct organization right now. So they, to go with their, wife, husband, friend, whatever, and go to the meetings and start to get to know people. And maybe, who knows, what if all of a sudden 2 months from now, the county party was like, oh yeah, this person's okay, we'll appoint them. I just think you have to sometimes go in the back door if they won't let you in the front door.
Right. The other thing that we do, we conservatives in my legislative district committee do is, like, we don't always go to the meetings because the meetings are usually boring. But if we do go, we try to sit with people we don't know, people that we just don't know who they are. We don't sit with the rhinos who we know. We sit with the people we don't know. And then you during the meeting, you just chat them up a little bit, like, hey, I've never seen you here before. What precinct are you in? And what do you think about this candidate? What do you think about that candidate? And what do you think about this issue? What do you think about that issue? And then you find out whether they're conservative or not. And then if they are conservative, you make sure you get their business card or their phone number or their email address, and then maybe follow up with them. And that way you build the network in the party itself. What we've done in the past, going back until before Trump, it was always when we ran a slate of state committeeman candidates. So we have our organizational meeting every 2 years. It's the elected precinct committeeman, and we meet. And there's two things that happen. We elect 5 officers, and then we also elect, actually it might be 7. I think we have like a first, second, third, and fourth vice chair, maybe even a 5th vice chair. I think just 4. Yeah, and too many officers. But that's a whole nother issue. But we elect the officers. After the officers are elected, then we have the election for state committeemen. The state committeemen are 1 for every 3 elected precinct committeemen. So what we would do is we would create a slate. Before Trump, it was always the party platform conservative slate, basically saying we agree with every plank in the party. So we're pro-life, we're pro-Second Amendment, we're anti-Chamber of Commerce, we want less government, we're what the platform says. The rhinos don't agree with any of that stuff, okay? And so we would say party platform conservatives, boom, 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 this is who we are. And we didn't always get all of us elected, but close. Well, then Trump came along, so we changed it to we were and we did this also in the presidential election year for delegates to the state convention. Precinct committeemen also elect them at a special caucus meeting. But at the organizational meeting every 2 years, it was the basket of deplorables. We are the basket of deplorables. We'd like to be your state committeeman representing LD18 at the state meeting. That was a signal to everybody that these are Trump people. And we put our names on the list. And then we ran. And every year we did better and better and better because we were recruiting as well. So our numbers were growing. And so this in 2020, when we had our organizational meeting, we had 161 slots. So I think we had 53 positions to fill, and 1 for every 3 of the 161. And we got all but I think 7 or 8 elected. We had like 70 on our list, 65 to 70. And of the 53 positions, we filled about 45. And the rest were rhinos, well-known rhinos. And then a lot of the rhinos who had been getting elected didn't make it this time. It's all about numbers. And, we've been at it here in my legislative district for 10 years and in my county for 10 years. And we're growing, growing, growing. with conservatives, and that's what you have to do. So you have to get a network. But the other thing that we know how to do is we know how to read the rules. You got to know what the rules are. I've maybe mentioned this once before. 4 years ago, we had a new chairman. He's gone now. He didn't run for re-election. He stood up at the first meeting after the organizational meeting. This would have been in 2017. He stands up at our first meeting and says, oh, and by the way, this legislative district committee, we do not endorse in the primary election. So I raised my hand and I said, Ed, where does it say that in the bylaws? Well, I said, let me help you. It doesn't say that in our bylaws. Our bylaws are silent on endorsements. That means we can do it. So and I turned to everybody, I said, if we want to endorse somebody in the primary going forward, we're allowed to do it. Some legislative districts explicitly have in their bylaws, we will not as a body endorse a primary candidate, one Republican over the other, but ours are silent. And then I gave the example also when I was explaining this, that at the Maricopa County Executive Committee level, we are allowed to endorse, but it's super majority. So, it varies. How did I know all that? I read the bylaws. I read and studied the bylaws. That's what everybody has to do. And bear with me here. Okay, sorry about that. That's it. I hope that helps, Sue. Anybody else for the good of the cause?
Question, concern?
Well, I'm concerned. I'm concerned that we're not recruiting fast enough. I'm not optimistic. Look, I don't want to sound like Pollyann-ish or Chicken Little or any of that, but I don't care. There's a first necessary step that has to happen to save the republic. We have to get control of one of the two parties. There's only one way to do it. And that's filling up all the vacant precinct committeeman slots with America Firsters. We're not doing it fast enough.
I have to tell you, Dan,
Yeah,
I agree with you 100%. It's too
Yeah.
difficult. It's
Yeah.
very difficult. You can't get information. It made it very hard. We've got too many platforms, and I don't mean to be negative, but right now I'm very discouraged. I thought that this was something that I could do, but I'm banging my head against the wall. I don't even know how other people are doing this, and I even know a little bit of what I'm doing. And when
right.
I keep running into, oh, they're calling Board of Elections. No, don't call the Board of Elections. You need to be calling your GOP. Well, the GOP doesn't even have a phone number, let alone they don't have anybody that answers. I mean, whether or not they have Facebook, it's extremely difficult to guide people through this. And it's not as easy as just calling up. And mine was pretty easy, calling up and saying I want to be precinct captain. They were like, great, and come to one meeting, and then the next one. But it took 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months.
That's why I keep saying that we need people at the highest levels who have some reputation for smarts and being actually authentic conservatives or America Firsters, like Donald Trump, to do this and to make this pitch, but he doesn't do it. And if he is doing it, if he thinks he's doing it cryptically, cryptically isn't going to work, because you know, most of the people who go to those rallies, they go to them and they think, wow, I really did something. I cut a check to Donald Trump, and man, I'm really doing something. And they're laughing all the way to the bank, the people who work for Trump, because they're using his name, and the Republican Party is using his name, and he's told them to stop, and they won't stop, to feather their
Line their
nest.
pockets.
But it goes into their back pocket, right?
Can you
and-
imagine if they had had a precinct chair table or somebody walking around trying to say, hey, you want to be a precinct chair at an event like that in Alabama with 75,000 people? That would have been awesome. But one of the things I think that makes it so hard, but something I have to force myself to do, is that, you know, the past 2 years, they've got people, you know, afraid to come out of their houses. They don't want to go to meetings. They don't want to go to big, you know, people have been separated from each other, and other people are afraid that there might be somebody, you know, they're afraid of their friends who are not conservative. You know, you're afraid to talk about it with friends. So I think that we have to just try to get out of ourselves a little more. And like, I have to force myself to, you know, try to figure out an opening in a conversation, because especially now with everything's going on, I bet that there are more people that will be willing to listen. So it's more of like a word of mouth or face to face. So we've been having voter meetings in a part of our county where we have a city right in the middle of our county. So the rest of the county really gets ignored because everything happens in the city. And I thought we would have like a regular group of people, but we're getting different people each time, and we're doing different topics. And even through the summer, but just getting the word out. So I just feel like, you know, if these people are telling other people that are like them, and then they spread it out, you know, the word's getting out there, but it is really hard. It's really hard to get face to face with people about this stuff.
I have some suggestions. Like I said, in this meeting, we set up something which is kind of old. You know, people used to get to the, you know, town squares and exchange ideas, but also there are open houses. You can have an open house like every Sunday. I don't know, just brew some coffee and some cookies and invite people and talk about these things and show and play Dan's movie. You know, I recently just kind of made a newer version of Dan's movie, like explains everything that you need. You don't even have to talk about it. You know, Dan actually explains everything in the movie. So things like that. But also, like Dan says, we need big influencers in the society. So when I see one of these Trump supporters on Instagram, he's got like 400,000 followers, and I get a hold of him finally, and he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. And next time he blocks me. You know, that hurts a lot, because he doesn't know, he has no idea what he's doing. He's actually destroying President Trump's reputation by these things, but not helping him at all. You know, so I've like, you know, if you know someone that who knows an influencer, that's another way to get a hold of them. You know, send them an email with the Dan's video, you know, and then they might take a look at it. There's no guarantee though. They might. And about you, Sue, like I said, I live in Hamilton County. I used to live in Montgomery County until I got divorced, and so I haven't got back there, but you know, time to time I go there for different reasons. But I don't know much about Montgomery County. I would love to know more about it. So in the meetings in future that we will hold it. Just join us, even though we are not in the same county, but we can exchange ideas, like you know, talk about things that this is almost similar issues in every county.
Well, yeah, so if you remember last week, Marta was on the call. She's in
Yes.
Warren County. I don't mean to turn this into Ohio only, but anyway, she and I have been emailing back and forth. I think we're gonna meet, we were picking a time, and then I thought I would go ahead and invite you once we figure out when
Sure.
we're gonna be able, yeah,
Count
so.
me in, count me in. You know, I know, you know, a bit about, you know, Hamilton County, and I would love to learn about these bylaws in other counties, because every single detail would help, you know, to, you know, become fluent in what we are doing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And today, I'm so sorry. I guess people got the email very late, and they didn't even expect that we would have any national call. Usually we are more than this, but mm, obviously they thought like we didn't have a meeting, so we have only few people here, but it's going to be better once everything goes back to normal. Yes, Dr. Ed?
Yeah, let me see if I've got, yeah, well, I've, you know, we're not doing well. And I think one of the reasons we're not doing well is we're not dealing with the world. And there's more issues than we bring up. And I just brought up some of them, and they impact everyone. And some we don't even know about. And that one is mind control. I'll start with the worst, difficult one first. Electronic mind control, frequency mind control, stuff coming over the horizon. And you can find out a lot about this with the group known as targeted individuals. We also have weather warfare. Climate changes naturally, but how much of this drought and bullshit that we have is being due to HARP and the spraying of chemtrails and all the stuff that's coming down on us. We don't talk about that. And then the whole business that we're all about to go broke, and we don't talk about the economy. We don't talk about the way it should be. We don't talk about C.H. Douglas, who's done stuff like this, who's studied, who's written about this. So this is all difficult. And then we don't talk about language, how that we probably cannot actually communicate or even think because the language is all screwed up. And this has been imposed on us over a long period of time. So this is all rather esoteric, but I think it's fundamental. And this is, you know, this is my background. I've been doing this since 96. And of course, nobody particularly wants to hear about it, but everybody is impacted by it some way. And I would think that if we deal with some of these issues, or we have groups dealing with some of these issues, talking about it, that we could in fact get people interested in the precinct if they can then understand that it might be a way to solve their particular problem. This is abstract. The precinct strategy is abstract. You have to believe it'll work. You have to believe that people will do it. You have to believe that you can make a change. And actually, we don't have much time by my conspiratorial studies. We probably have about 9 years, and then we're going to be finished off. So that's what I have to say about this. And here I'm obviously involved in helping as much as I can. But I think, as usual, we can always do more.
Yeah, I would just respond to that it's not completely abstract in that, you know, I have examples on my website, some narrated PowerPoints showing how, you know, you can take, I mean, it's politics is numbers. And I have this one short video where I show how in, I think it was 2012, or maybe it was a 2011 race. When you have all the precinct committeeman slots filled in a precinct and you target the right voters to get out the vote, get them to go to the polls, you can do it very efficiently with just some phone calls and literature drop off and boost turnout for the Republican candidates. This was in a mayor and city council race in Tempe. And we did that. We doubled turnout as compared to the other precincts in Tempe. And I tried to get the candidates to do it, and they wouldn't listen to me because they hired these, idiots who took all their money and did a marketing campaign instead. And they ended up losing. But if they would have done what I told them to do in all of the other precincts, and I did a cost analysis, how much it would have cost. There were 3 candidates, and if all 3 of them had pooled their money and hired we did it for free in my precinct, for free. 3 hours each. That's all, just 3 hours. We did it in the initial election, and then there was a runoff. We did it again in the runoff. And compared to the other precincts, what we did doubled turnout of Republicans. And if they had done that in every one of the other precincts, they would have won in a landslide. The 2 candidates who made it to the runoff, one for city council, one for mayor, but they didn't do it. And it's all about numbers. And the thing that we have to do is we have to get all those people, all those issue groups, those people who are interested in all those issues that you mentioned. You got to recruit them to unite with other people who are like-minded and come into the party. And it's all on this graphic that I created, and which is, it's on my, the equivalent of this. This is a single graphic, but I have it in PDF and Word. And if anybody wants it, I'll send it to them. But it's also on my website now. And so, it's all about, there's America First National Defense people. There's Second Amendment people, all the gun groups. There's anti-mandatory vaccination people, no masks, build the wall people, anti-mask people, America First audits people, elect better school board people, America First foreign policy people, the right to lifers and tax enough already. And there's thousands of more issue people like this. The place who are conservative. What they need to do is pivot and become a precinct committeeman too, as soon as possible. And then take that issue and advocate for that issue as a precinct committeeman in the party for the candidates that will align with them on the issue. That's what they need to do. And we're not doing it. We're just not united. And that's what the precinct committeeman strategy is. Getting like-minded people who are, on the right on these issues and get them into the party and explain it to them. And of course, the public schools don't teach how to do this anymore. And we've got to start recruiting like never before, or we're going to lose the republic.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Could it be that we should talk about some of the issues first and committee and precinct strategy second? I mean, it's hard for people who've lost their job, who are in danger of getting, and their family members are getting jabbed, and then all that, and there's no water to think about the strategy. So maybe some of these issues should be brought up first, and then and maybe multiple groups talking about these various individual issues, and then end talking about the precinct strategy rather than start with the precinct strategy.
Well, that's what I did. That's what I did starting in 2009 when all the Tea Party groups this is an updated graphic. My original graphic had the 9/12 groups. Remember the 9/12 rally, Glenn Beck spouting off with supposedly 1 million people in DC?
Yep.
How many precinct committeemen did he recruit? Zero.
None. None.
None. The word precinct was never uttered by anybody on that stage. I went to the taxed enough already Tea Party groups, and if they would have me and said, listen, you want less government, right? You don't want any more taxes. You want taxes lowered, right? Will you get involved in politics and elect better people? Well, I'd say, look, if you want to do it, I've got forms up here. This was in Maricopa County and elsewhere in Arizona. I've got forms here. This is how easy it is to fill a vacant precinct committeeman slot. One piece of paper. I live in my precinct. I am a registered Republican. I volunteer to fill the vacancy. That's all it took. So at first, what I did, I'd go to these things and I'd say, if you want this piece of paper, they're up here. Come get one. A few people would come up. I mean, I have like 100 people in a room, 150, 2 or 3 would come up. So then I changed it to, and then I would say to them, if you leave this meeting and I see you at the mall and you didn't become a precinct committeeman, you better turn around and run, because I'm going to confront you. Why the hell didn't you do something? Okay. So then I changed it. And then it was like, I'd hold up the 1-page form. That's all it took. One piece of paper to get appointed to a vacancy. I'd hold up the sheaf of papers and I'd say, if you want to become a precinct committeeman through the appointment process, I got the form here, but you have to come up here after the meeting, after I'm done, and ask me personally for the piece of paper, because I'm just not going to give them out willy-nilly, because I've been doing that and nobody follows through. And again, I'd get 1 or 2 or 3 out of 100, 150 people. Most people don't want to do anything. All they want to do is go get entertained and feel, and then the thing that they're really willing to do is write a check. Because then they go, oh, I wrote a check. Now I gave the money to these experts who are going to fix things. Like Heritage Foundation. Like, have they fixed anything? Cato Institute, have they fixed anything? Freedom Works, have they fixed anything? The Tea Party groups, have they fixed anything? They haven't fixed a damn thing. They're all in, it's a business. Is siphon in as much money as possible. And you can look it up. You can look up the 501c groups. There are IRS filings they have to make. They always push it out into the future as far as possible. And then the PACs, they push it out as far as possible. Same thing. You'll see Collins, Great America PAC or something like that. Great America Future PAC or something like that. He takes home $1 or $2 million a year, plus all of his travel expenses. What has he achieved? He's achieved one thing and one thing only. He's made Ed Rollins rich. That's what. Because people will write a check and send it to Ed Rollins and saying, wow, I did something. I sent money to somebody who really has a lot of expertise on the issues. And then they don't do anything else. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. It's okay to send checks, but do something. Like maybe become a precinct committeeman for your voting precinct. That's the hard part. Nobody wants to do that. Here we are. Remember, going into the most important election in our lifetime in 2016 and then again in 2020. Most important election in our lifetime. And where were we as a party? Over 50% of the precinct committees were vacant. And Trump never once said between his election, his success in 2016 up through 2020, he never got on a stage and ever uttered the words, as far as I can tell, precinct committeeman. Become a precinct committeeman.
Well, maybe you're doing something wrong. Maybe it's impossible and we're lost. Or
could
maybe
be.
We should approach the Democrats like this too. Like, you don't have to be a conservative if you have a liberal idea, like, for instance, you're all for abortion, then you should also join the precinct committee man.
No,
Uh,
no, no,
why?
no, 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 no. Never, never, never try to encourage the Democrats to do anything. Look, I have been hounded for the last 3 months by some reporter from ProPublica, and I hope he listens to this. In fact, my brother called me right before we aired this. He called a guy that I knew in high school who also went to Badger Boy State, who was 2 years older than me. Hey, do you know Dan Schultz? I really want to talk to Dan Schultz because he's doing an article about how effective we are or are not. I will never get interviewed ever by anybody like him. I'm never going to empower the left ever. I never want to do that. That's the last thing I want to do. Why don't we focus on one thing like a laser? Why don't we take over the Republican Party first? Let's do that first. And then let's see about sabotaging the Democrats. But let's take over the Republican Party first.
Well,
Let's
I'm running
do
an
that.
experiment, I think. I think I'm running an experiment here. I'm running an experiment with the primary water. I mean, and I sent you the email just with this. And I'm running a Zoom call, and I'm working with Mike Plumhoff on primary water. And that's our focus right there. Now, of course, if we get going and we get people involved, I'm going to bring up the precinct strategy. That's something I'm going to do. But I'm starting out with primary water.
What is primary one?
Primary water,
What is primary water?
it's with the source of all water. There's no shortage of water. Water
Okay.
is made in the mantle. And if you know how to drill for it, you can find it. Usually
It's made where?
in the mantle of the earth. That's where all water has come from.
Okay.
Rain is just primary water that's evaporated, filled with aluminum and Roundup and shit like that, and has gone up and come back down. But water is manufactured by the water factory in the mantle of the earth. Now that's the group I'm working with because I'm in California. That's the focus to begin with. And I'll get around to to neighborhood primary public strategy. You never get the term out later when we've had some success organizing and getting water for California.
Okay.
Every elder needs to know about this.
Isn't there an easier solution to the water shortages in California and in the mountain states? Like maybe,
I'm not sure that there is.
well, like maybe build reservoirs.
Well, we're suffering climate change, which
'Cause
may
here-
be brought
'cause-
along by.
No, we're not. There's no such thing as climate change. Here,
Oh,
look,
there's always climate change.
well, of course, but we're there's no man-made climate change. This is my point. Here's my point. Real simple. Every year, it's happening right now up in here in Arizona, up in Flagstaff. There's been these horrible fires in the mountains, the few mountains that we have. And because of those fires, and why did the fires happen? Because there's no forest management. So when a fire starts, it just goes.
Yep.
Because there's no forest management.
You're leaving out
Because the
arson.
federal
You're
on the
leaving out
federal,
arson.
huh?
You're leaving out arson.
Well, no, but forget arson.
No,
the
you can't
bottom
forget
li-
arson. That's what they're doing.
Okay, but I understand all of that. But here's the thing: if you manage the forest, even if there is an arsonist who starts the fires in critical places, if you've got fire breaks, it's not going to spread. And even if it starts to spread, the firefighters can stop the spread. But we do no forest management because of the federal government by design, because they want to decimate our forests.
That is very true.
Okay, so here, but if we did forest management here in Arizona and in California and Washington and Oregon and all the places where there's always these horrible fires, we wouldn't have the horrible fires. And the other thing that would happen is this: when it rains, which it rains every year, sometimes a lot, sometimes not so much in California, and I have a little bit of experience with this on one of the cases I worked with a really good meteorologist and weather expert. And he's the guy, one of the guys who claimed he, what is it called? I can't remember what it's called, but the effect where, I don't know, the warm ocean currents cause a increase.
El Nino or something like that?
No, what did you call it?
El Nino or La Nina?
Yes, El Nino. He was a guy, he's one of the guys who claims the guy he worked with as an understudy figured this out. I can't remember the guy's name right now. But the bottom line is this: all of this rain comes year after year after year and causes all of this terrible flooding in Florida. In California. Why haven't they built reservoirs to capture the water? And the reason they haven't done it is because the incompetent California government officials divert all of that money to funding the illegal immigrants, funding welfare,
Yes.
funding all the crap that destroys our economy on purpose. There's plenty of money, but they divert it to stuff that is destructive instead of constructive. And so again, how do we fix it? We got to elect better people. Are we ever going to do that? Only if we carry out the precinct committeeman strategy and turn our party from a half-strength, ideologically split party at war with itself that never wins the critical elections, hardly ever, into a full-strength, 75% conservative, get out the vote powerhouse party. So in California, I know your system is totally different than every other state, except for, as far as I know, Maryland is very similar to California. It's all central committee members of the county. And who gets to elect them? The voters. How often? Every 4 years. And it's very corrupt. And there's not much you can do about it other than try to build a network of people who will turn out to vote and elect better people to the central committee. And plus, in California, those who run for state legislature, even if they lose, they get to appoint people to the central committee members of either the county or the assembly district committees. And it's very convoluted and complicated by design, so nobody will figure out how it all works. So the bottom line is this: as I said earlier, we got a mission. Our mission is this: fill up in every state as soon as possible all of the vacant committeeman slots. And when I say committeeman slots, that means in every state it's called something different, but it's the people, the slots that elect the officers at the lowest level in the committees in that state party apparatus. Until we do that, and unless we do that, we don't have a shot at surviving as a nation. Raheem Kassam said back in, I don't know, April, maybe, when I was on one time with Bannon, maybe March, you know, it was a third hour in the afternoon and I had been on in the morning, and he said to Bannon, I just want to go back to this morning. you know, and he says, what do you mean? He goes, you know, the precinct thing, oh, okay, yes, yes, Raheem, what do you have to say? Uh, uh, if we don't take over the Republican Party going forward, essentially what we have in this country is the uniparty. There's no opposition. We don't have a two-party system anymore. We have a uniparty, and that means the end of the republic. He said something like that. He's absolutely right. So the focus needs to be, Dr. Spencer, if you can, focus on getting all those people that you're talking to funnel in to the ranks of the Republican Party in California, which I know right now means you become a precinct committeeman with no voting rights, but at least you're going to start networking. And then the next time the election comes around to elect better people to the county committees, you'll be poised to do it. That's what we need to do. We got to get networked. And that's why I'm trying to build this communications network with Robert Beatles, with all these chat functions and everything, which, is like every other IT project I've ever been involved with in my life. It never happens on schedule. It's promised, but then, we ran into this problem, and the computer didn't agree with us on this, and we have bugs, and that happened. And so something that was going to happen in March, here it is, August, still hasn't happened.
Yes.
Well, I'm hoping that it happens soon.
Yeah, me too.
I think you can use it in California.
Yeah.
We need it in California big time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I just wanted to say, Dan, something before Mike actually is next person.
Okay.
Like, wanted to say, from what I saw on Twitter, when I actually searched for the word precinct strategy or something like that, I saw lots of people being informed by you, and I saw hashtags after hashtags. So it's bigger than what we see. Number one. Number two, and the rest of us, we know that the American Revolution happened because 4% of people got involved and got engaged. Unfortunately, 96% of the people have no initiatives to do anything about the statistical, and they wait. The best strategy they have is waiting, number one. Number two, because they're like bad parents, almost like bad parents who don't know what to do except buying more toys for their children, expensive toys for their children. They're like that. They would rather to buy that big toy, write the check and not taking any responsibility. However, I'm seeing also this 4% working even harder, and the quality of work is getting better, although we have some hiccups in our movement. That's true. Just wanted to say that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mike, you're next.
Yeah, so this is mostly kind of to back up what Dan was saying, and this directly responds to what Dr. Spencer was saying. For your issue-oriented groups, they got motivated because of an issue, but the way to solve the issue is to get involved. And the phrase I always like to say is, the rules are made by those that show up. And so get them involved. To make your issue work, you have to be involved in the power structure. To be involved in the power structure, you have to take over the party. So if you want the water system to work, or whatever other issue your issue group you're working with, you got to take over the power structure. It's that simple. And I'm in a couple different issue groups, and we kind of sing that same song there. You got to take over the reins of power, and the only way to do that is to be in the reins of, one by one, is you got to take over the things. If you want that issue to be solved, you have to take over.
Yeah, thank you. Here's my flyer that I use. Okay. And I'll just read some excerpts from it. Okay, so here if you action by doing versus inaction by talking. This is what I would hand out at Tea Party rallies, 9-12 groups, and pro-life groups. I went, hey, you want to become? Have you ever thought of becoming a precinct committeeman? What's a precinct committeeman? 99.9% of the time. What's the precinct committeeman? So read this. So here's what it says. To change things, we must change the laws. This is all in also, by the way, the most powerful office in the world is not the president of the United States.
Wonderful.
It's precinct committeeman. And I'm told Grant Noble, who I talked to a couple of days ago, wrote this for Phyllis Schlafly at the Eagle Forum. And I borrowed heavily from it for what I'm going to read you. To change things, we must change the laws. 2, to change the laws, we must change the people who make the laws. 3, to get elected, your candidate must be on the ballot. 4, to get on the November ballot, you must win the primary. 5, to win the primary, you must get the support of people who make endorsements in the primary, who reliably vote in the primary, and who get out the vote of others in the primary. That's the key. Getting out the vote of others who don't normally vote in the primary. Those people who do that are the precinct committeemen. Rallies / marches won't cause real change. And then most importantly, by becoming a PC, you get to actually vote for the party leadership. Blah, 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 blah. Election winners make the rules. Go here to learn more. And then I have all these links, right? And I'm told there's this old Russian saying, and we're seeing it playing out right now before our eyes. It's just common sense. There's only one political party in any nation. There's only one. It's the one in power. We're not in power anymore. Look what's happening to our country. We let this happen. Now, of course, everybody will say, yeah, but it was stolen. It was stolen. Yeah, but how did it get stolen? I agree. It was stolen. There's no question it was stolen. How did it get stolen? I'll tell you how it got stolen. I was a poll volunteer, Republican Party of Arizona poll observer. I had a letter from the county chair of Pima County. They asked me to go down to Pima County, down in Tucson. Spent 2 days down there. Then after I realized there was no sense for me being down there anymore, I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I came home. But I went down there the night before the election, and I spent the whole day on election day going through to all these precincts where there were voting centers. And the idiots who had me go down there made me wear a mask on top of it, which was ridiculous. But that's a whole nother issue. Anyways, the bottom line is this. Everywhere I went, we were supposed to have at least one person in the morning and one person in the afternoon, at least one. Most places I went, there was one person per day. And then the Democrats, they had 3 people in the morning and 3 people in the afternoon each day. Now, only one of the 3 could actually be inside observing what was going on, but the other 2 or 3 were out in the parking lot, and they had on T-shirts, and they were outside the 150 foot perimeter with a bright blue T-shirt that said Democrat poll helper, and on the back it said Democrat poll helper. Ask me if you have any questions. So where was all the money by the Trump Victory Group being spent for that? I'll tell you where it was being spent. It was being spent on, we called it eyewash in the Army, okay? Painting rocks, making everything look pretty, if it isn't seen, it doesn't exist, hide stuff, Trump Victory spent gobs of money here in Arizona on MAGA parties. Well, guess who came to the MAGA parties? All the people who are going to vote for Trump anyways. Did they spend any money on getting out the vote of the people, the Republicans who, either thought there's no reason for me to go vote because Trump's got it in the bag, or there's no reason for me to go vote because Trump's going to lose? They didn't spend any money doing that. It was all MAGA parties, MAGA parties. Did they spend any money on election day operations where they had people, they were paying people to go be poll workers and poll watchers? Zero. They just relied on party volunteers. And down in Pima County, whereas up here in Maricopa County, we had, after the primary election, we had a whopping 36% of our PC slots filled. Down in Pima County, they had 22% filled. Where were all their people who could take a day off from work and volunteer? They didn't exist. And so we got outmanned, outgunned tremendously down in Pima County is Tucson. There's basically two counties in Arizona where everything happens. Maricopa County, which is 63% or so of the electorate, Republican electorate, Phoenix and the environs around Phoenix. And then Pima County, which is Tucson and its suburbs, and then it's about 18% of the rest. And then all those remote counties, which, numerically, they don't matter. You got to win Maricopa County #1. You got to win Pima. Why did they send me down to Pima County? Because I've been doing it for 10 years and I knew what I was doing. And, but we were totally outgunned. This is the problem. And did Donald Trump know any of this? Well, I do know this. I don't know, but I do know this. I tried to get to him through my party. I tried to get to him in January of when I found out he was coming out here for a rally. I tried to get to him through our national committeeman, national committeewoman, and state chairman, and others who had supposedly access to Trump. And all I got was excuses, because I wanted him to say at a February rally here in Maricopa County, you really want to help Donald Trump here in Arizona? Become a precinct committeeman. Because you, at that time, you had until May 20th to get 10 signatures to get on the ballot to fill up the vacant precinct committeeman slots. And what happened on August 4th, when we had our primary election? A whopping 36% statewide of our precinct committeeman slots got filled. 36%, going into the most important election in our lifetime. And Donald Trump never uttered these words: if you really want to help me, America Firsters, become a precinct committeeman for your voting precinct. And if you don't know what that means, call my campaign and we'll tell you what it means. Never got said. That's it in a nutshell.
Well, I'm going to have to leave, so I want to say goodbye. I've learned a lot, and I'll see you next week.
Okay.
Thank you again,
I'm gonna
Doctor.
screw it with my left hand. My right arm is broken.
Yes, Nikki is here. Nikki, Nelson,
Nikki.
our beautiful lady is here.
Hey, Nikki, you're here? Oh, Nikki,
Yes.
I can't go now because you
Oh,
just
yeah.
arrived.
Yeah,
I gotta go
was
though.
here.
Hi, guys. I'm a little under the weather, but I wanted to see if you guys can test the chat with me in Network America. I know, Dan, you had a hard time finding it. It's not obvious. It's in the lower right corner. Did you see it finally or no?
I
Not yet.
haven't had time to find it. All I see in my lower right corner is a CAPTCHA.
Oh my gosh. Maybe the captcha's in your computer is covering the chat.
I don't know.
Can you
Maybe.
share?
I know. This is the tech world. It's, program and test. But I didn't have anybody to test it with. I mean, the network's basically pretty dead. I hate to say. But
Can you share a screen with us?
yeah, sure. Okay,
Okay.
let me
Yeah, that would be great if you could share the screen.
yeah, I would love to do that. And I'll make it more obvious, Dan, and put a title on it and all that. We were just working out the technical stuff. So I'm going to share my screen, but I need other people to be signed in at networkamerica.org/network. If
Okay.
anybody can sign in, then we
I
can
can do that.
Oh, thanks. And it looks like you're in there, Dan, under Cold Warrior. I tried to call you earlier.
Yeah, I believe I'm signed in.
Okay, let me see. Share screen. I think I'm doing it right. All righty. Oh, no.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
And I'm not a rainbow girl. I've got things covering my camera always and on my phone. And now they look like a rainbow. So
That's okay.
I know I'm not a rainbow girl though.
That's
Okay, just saying. Dr. Q, how do I make this thing go away? Do you see it or no? Everybody, I'm not familiar with Zoom. Oh, there we go.
I mean,
Okay.
practically can do. Oh,
Okay.
I'm so dumb. Actually, I've seen that before. Like, you're talking about this area, okay?
Okay, so do you see it in the right-hand corner, guys? It says
I
chat.
see, I
It's
see.
super small.
Chat. Yeah, I
Yeah.
clicked on the chat and who's
Okay,
online.
so I'm gonna add, where are you guys? Okay, so I know that you're here. And then I'm gonna add a group. So I'm gonna add Dr. Q. Oh, hold on.
Here it is.
You can only add people that are your friends.
Hello, here's me. Hello. How
Okay,
about
wait.
that?
Okay, wait, no, wait.
Oh, it wasn't?
Okay, wait a minute, sweetie. Okay, hold on. I know, it's like okay, I'm gonna say this is my first rodeo. Okay, so I'm gonna do Cold Warrior. What is going on here? There we
Oh, so
go.
you're making a group. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, guys, and bear with me. There's a learning curve. Dr. Q, there you are. Who else is here that wants to be on the group chat?
Put Sue Bonsteel.
Oh, I bet you
Are
she's
you-
not
are
my
you here,
friend.
Sue? Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I'm online, but I'm not a friend of anybody. I don't know. Yeah,
Oh, okay, let me see
You're
who
not
else
gonna
is
be
on.
on my list. I'm not on your list.
Yeah, because you can only do this with friends, otherwise you'd be able to throw in people you
All right,
don't know.
Dr. Q.
Okay, so we'll just do it with us three and then everybody can watch and know how to do it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna click on the video thing.
Okay.
And here we go. Oh my goodness. I have allow your camera and audio. And it's contacting everybody now.
Okay.
And then you have to answer your little phone and allow your camera audio.
Okay. Well, I'm not receiving that. I mean, call chat. Hold on.
Dan, do you hear your thing ringing or anything?
No.
No.
Maybe because Zoom's on.
Maybe. Yeah, that's a big.
Oh, I bet
Maybe.
you that's
That's a big
why.
maybe. Yes. That's a
Okay,
big
well,
maybe, yeah.
but this is how you do it, guys. And then let me
Okay.
close this out then. And then let me just do like,
I kind of
like-
got it, actually. You know.
anyways, so yeah, you click on the little chat and I will make it bigger. I mean, I don't want to make it too big, but we could
Nikki, do you know how to make or create a tutorial video?
no, I don't know how to do videos. I
Well,
intentionally.
I don't know how to do it either.
I
But
can make you the tutorial. I mean, I can.
can you do it, Dr. Q?
I mean, if yeah, I mean, sure.
Okay, and then make
I
it so
learned it
that
myself first.
think of me as like one of these monkeys in a zoo, that is very scatological and
Okay,
just
like that.
they mimic things, and that's about the extent of their brain function. Make it so that that monkey can understand it, because otherwise I won't.
Okay, got it. So can you see the chat better? Is that big enough, guys? If it
Yeah,
was like
yeah,
that?
yeah.
And maybe should I make it red?
Make
Yeah,
it
well-
blinking if possible.
Make it what?
Blinking.
Oh, don't start with the blinking down.
No,
Blinking.
I'm serious. I'm
Blinking
serious. Make it like
hard.
pulsating, blinking, like do this. You are a moron. Do this. That's what I need.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I won't see it.
Well, I can't do, well, hold on.
Well, if you can't do it, that's okay. Because that's what I told
Okay, what about
uh,
here?
Mark
It's red,
Knowles,
like that.
my web guy, to do on my site. Can you make it a blinking button? And he goes, no, Dan, please, no, we can't do a
Don't
blinking
start with the blinking. I know, it's an IT nightmare, I'm telling you. But anyway, so it's bigger and it's red and it says chat here.
Oh, I see it now.
Okay, that's better. That's better. Chat here. Okay.
Maybe I
But
can
see,
make
can
it,
you put on chat here video and audio chat here?
let me see if it'll,
Is that
fit.
is that appropriate?
Let me see, video.
Maybe we can, right after this, we can chat a little bit for like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
okay, and then I'll take this out. Let me see, I just want to make sure it fits on there.
You and your HTML thing,
No, that's good. That's good.
Oh.
I'm impressed.
Well, see, it's too big, so I gotta make
Anybody who knows how to code, I am impressed with.
I gotta make it shorter.
coder.
So we'll do video. Let's just do, video audition. Let me see if this will fit. Oh, you know why? Because I made it bigger down here, remember? I made it, okay, so I'm gonna have to make it a little smaller here. Give me 1 second.
Sure.
So if we do this one like that. There we go. Video audio chat. Like that.
Yeah.
I would say
Much
video ampersand audio chat.
Okay.
I can't make it bigger, Dan, because then it pushes it down to the second line and it hides it.
Oh, that's okay. Then that's okay.
No, that should be all right. I can see it now.
How about
Okay.
vid? How about vid ampersand audio?
What's ampersand?
The
Ampersand is like the
The and sign?
like it's the
yeah, the ampersand.
the thing you learn in grade school if you
Yeah.
went to a good public school, but if you didn't, then you didn't learn it.
I don't know what it is.
It's I can't
Okay, now I'm here.
I'm
It's
gonna
an
draw a
and
picture of it.
sign.
Oh, it's a thank you. Oh my goodness, you're killing me, Dan. Killing me.
Did someone show it to her? She knows what it is?
Yeah, she knows what it is.
Okay, video. When I did it, then I got to make the text smaller. Hold on.
Okay, all right.
And then I'll make this probably 16. Give me a second. Here, where the hell did it go? Oh, excuse my French. I have to be a sailor.
Or if you can't use the ampersand, use the plus.
No,
There's
she
an
did that.
ampersand. Ampersand is there.
Yeah.
We have ignition. Ampersand.
Okay. I will make sure that I get that fit.
There we go.
I just
Great.
got to make sure that CSS code isn't, screwing around with another CSS code or whatever.
Got
But
it,
okay.
got it.
All right. So then we'll go ahead and chat after the call if you don't mind on
Yes,
this.
I will.
Okay, perfect.
Everybody else should do it too.
Okay, so
Okay,
anyways,
yeah,
that's it. And we had a little bit of an upgrade to the system. We had a little bit of a facelift going on. And there was some issues on mobile. So like on, oh my goodness, if I go here and I sign out, let me get rid of that.
Okay.
And if I go here and log out. So this was a big problem here. I have Zoom things all over my screen. I don't think you guys can see it, but I'm trying to work around it.
Yeah.
So anyways, the new welcome screen is this instead of all of, Jim made me do this detailed instruction stuff
Yeah.
when we first got started, and it's just not responsive mobily. And it's not necessary. So I put it up here because once you do sign in, let's see. No, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Once we do sign in, when new people come, they have it on their backdrop. If you look up here, all the directions are right here. You know what I mean? All the instructions, they should, and I think it was scaring people away. It didn't look friendly. Anyway, so the instructions are here. So I made that page a lot more simple, and now it's more responsive on mobile. We can get apps that go with it, but they're expensive. And we had to get another server to get the audio video chat. So now we have like 3 or 4 servers running.
Right.
But it's, it's just, we do what we can. I wish we had more people. But
how many people are on Network America as users?
Let me see. $776. Oh, 1153.
Wow.
1153. Okay. So
1153.
there's 200,000 vacant precinct committeeman slots. There's a total of 400,000 in the Republican Party, and we have 1153. Okay. Like I said earlier on the call, I am not optimistic. Unless we change that dramatically within a couple of months. Don't forget, the first of the caucus meetings that are going to take place for electing precinct committeemen happen in, now some have already happened this year, going forward for 2 or 4 year terms. But now there's kind of a lull, as far as I know, between now and, but in January, the caucus meetings in Iowa are going to happen. And then month after month after month after month after month, they're going to start taking place, caucus meetings or primary elections. And if we don't get the America Firsters involved in that process ASAP, as soon as possible, and educated as soon as possible, goodbye, American Republic.
How do I stop sharing screens, guys?
What is it?
How do I stop sharing?
I did it for you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Can I ask, how do you add, like I'm logged into the Network America, but on my phone, but I see the chat button and then it says to add users, but I don't know how to find one on here.
You have to have friends. So when you do chat, you're only allowed to chat with friends.
Well, how do I make friends?
Okay, so how you make friends is, you want me to share my screen and show you?
Yes, like, to add Dan as a friend.
Oh, okay. So if you go,
Accept anyone. No, I'm just kidding.
things all over. Okay, so if you go to people at the top here, and you just type in who you're looking for, or you could just scroll through and see who you know. But Dan is on here as Cold Warrior, so type in Cold, and there he is.
There was a British show, Cold Warrior.
Yeah, and just so you know, the reason I'm Cold Warrior is because when I got involved in this and publicly in 2009, I worked on a big case for the state of California for the Attorney General's office, and I cycled through. Actually, at one point, Kamala Harris was the person I was reporting to.
Wow.
Jerry Brown was the governor and AG for a time. So was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, this is a case that lasted 15 years. And I had to do everything anonymously because if I had done it publicly, I'd have been fired.
Oh my God.
Well, my God, you were surrounded by absolute criminals, the happy hooker, the communist, and oh my gosh, Jerry Brown. I mean, from a long line of criminals.
Yeah,
That's
and
great.
there were others as well. And one guy whose name I can't remember right now, just a despicable person. He was the Attorney General of the state of California. He'd never tried a case in his life. And I tried to get one of the Roger Hedgecock to ask him on air live, hey, Attorney General, what's your name? I can't remember the guy's name right now. If you were in the courtroom, now it's a 50-50 shot. What side of the courtroom is the jury, the jury panel? Is it on the left or is it on the right? Well, that's a setup question, and it's a 50-50% chance you'll get it right because it could be one or the other. The jurors are on the side closest to the prosecution or the plaintiff, okay? The defendant is the one that's farthest away. This guy, I got his name on the tip of my tongue, is a despicable person. Can't think of his name. He never had tried a case in his life. And he was an anti-gun guy and big time, and just a horrible, horrible person. I don't know if Roger ever asked him that question, but I called into a show one time while I was driving, and I said, if you want to ask this guy this question, why don't you ask him this question? I don't know if Roger ever did or not. Anyways, that's why I had to do it as Cold Warrior at that time.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, listen, if you want me to, who is it, Sue? Are you the one who asked about how to add friends?
It was Maria, I guess.
Sue's not on the call anymore.
Oh, I don't know what happened. I'm lost in Zoom. Anyway, I was gonna show you how to add friends. You just hover
It was
over
Maria.
It was
Yeah.
Maria. Oh, hi, Maria. I see.
Hey there.
Sorry, I'm an IT person, but I have gaps in my knowledge because I'm a volunteer and I learn what I have to learn to do what I'm supposed to do. So, like I can do websites and I can do this stuff, but I can't run my phone. But so anyways, let me share screens here. I have very specialized knowledge. So I'm going to share again, and then I'm going to show you how to add a friend. And I'm going to add you, Maria Fitton. So I don't know what you guys can see on my screen, but I'm going to go find you.
You can see it.
Now you can.
Uh-oh. All right. Do you have a different screen name, Maria? Is this you?
Try Mama Maria and see.
Oh, Mama Maria, I saw that. It was Mama Maria.
Oh, there you are, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, very good. All right. So here you are. And then I can look at your profile. You can put, a picture or whatever, and you can change this out. But look, and I can send you a message here, and that goes to the chat, or I can add you as a friend. I'll say, hi, Maria. Maria, it's Nikki. And send that to you, and you'll get a friend request, and it'll come into your notifications here. And then just go ahead and accept it. And then I can add you to the group chat after the call if you want me to also. So
Hey,
anyways, yeah.
Nikki.
Yeah.
Thanks for all of this. I really appreciate it. Here's a more fundamental question with respect to what you have achieved here and has not been achieved yet over on pill.net. What software is allowing you on networkamerica.org to create this robust chat capability?
Well, I know that the chat is like an extra plugin from the system that we're using. And then I've got a programmer in Holland, and then I've got another one in Asia, and together they are the ones who did the chat because it was way over my head, to be honest.
Okay.
Do
you know what the guts are? I mean, like, what is it that, because for example, we had a really nice chat thing going on rightlanenetwork.com.
Yeah.
Was a
Comet chat?
I bear with me while I pull it out of my memory banks. My recollection is that rightlanenetwork.com might be on Wix, WIX.
Oh my gosh,
And then-
that's an Israeli military company, by the way.
Okay, whatever. But
Well-
and then Kimber, the webmaster, caused I want to say it was a WordPress plugin for chat,
Okay.
and it worked beautifully.
Yeah,
It was
WordPress.
great.
Yeah, WordPress, like if I go in here, I'll show you. There's all kinds of plugins you can do on WordPress. So
But
this is
but she killed it.
Oh,
well, sometimes they kill themselves with the updates and they
No,
conflict.
she
with other
killed
plugins.
she
Oh.
killed it. And
Okay.
it was the best thing that we had on our site because it allowed people who were on our site who logged in and created a user ID and password to go
Okay.
into the chat and then create chat rooms on any subject. And
Yeah,
she killed it.
Yeah, that's what we had before, and then we got rid of that one because it was glitchy. Some of these chat things,
Ours was not glitchy.
some of them are glitchy, and then some of them, there was another one that came with the program that would allow people that had admin access to look at private chats, and I had a fit about that, and I got rid of that one.
Well,
So,
you know,
there's all different kinds of issues,
Sure.
with different
Okay.
things. But like
well, I
right
was just
here,
wondering what you were using.
well, on ours, it's special for our project that we have or the software that we use. You can add plugins and you can buy extra stuff. You just have, but with the audio video, you had to have a separate server. And I guess the other server we had in Canada wouldn't work for it for whatever reason. So we got another server hooked up in Holland, and then they made it work. But it was way over my head, Dan.
All right.
But I can find out for you, but it's not going to matter. because-
No, I was just wondering. It's the bottom line here is this. Every time we have the capability, us little people, figure out how to effectively communicate with one another, we ought to go with it until we find something better. But the last thing we should do is what Kimber did, and that is, oh, I just don't like this, so I'm killing it. And I
she
didn't have any
killed it
power,
on purpose.
and I didn't have any power to stop that.
Oh boy.
that's not good. That's not good.
No, that's bad. Well, and that's one of the reasons we have this system, because nobody can do anything with it but me. And as everybody here knows, or most people that know me for years, I got liberty running through my blood. I'm not going to sabotage
Well,
anything.
so does Kimber, but the problem, I don't know. Kimber just decided, I'm not going to do this anymore. And then it was gone. And there was nothing I could do about it. And, here I am, today before this meeting, I've spent 2 or 3 hours like looking at the spreadsheet of the latest PC numbers from Maricopa County and trying and laboriously going through and figuring out how many slots are there, how many got filled, what's the percentage, blah, 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 blah. And it takes forever. And we've got all these people who know how to do this stuff in Excel, and they won't step up to the plate and do it. And I don't have the time. I'm a effing lawyer. I'm not an Excel guru.
Right.
And nobody will step up to the plate, but I guess every effing time I have to step up to the plate. And now the next thing I have to do besides learning how to do a website and learning how to do chat and learning how to do all this, next thing I have to do is I have to learn how to do Excel spreadsheets.
Well, why don't you use
have the effing time to do it?
Why don't you use Network America?
We should probably be.
My God, it's got everything on it.
But Nikki, I've been telling people use Network America, and nobody does.
Oh, it's so good. I know they come in.
Donald Trump to say use Network America, and it'll happen.
I don't know.
How about putting it in something about it on the email that invites people to the calls, because I've been on the calls every week and no one told me that that the website was upgraded and you could do all this. I was on it like a really long time ago, and when I pulled it up, it all had stuff on the Green Party on it. So I don't know.
Well, you know
So
what?
anyway.
That's how the system works. So the system works, we have a national group that you go into, and then we have state groups, county groups, party groups, and then people make their own groups. And we're not censoring anybody, Maria. If somebody from the damn Green Party wants to be in here, let them be in here. Do you know what I'm saying? And I mean, and this is how I was on Facebook. I ran groups with hundreds of thousands of people, and they'd be
No.
like, Nikki, kick him out. I don't like him. And I'd be like, you know what? If you don't like it, debate it. And if you don't want to debate it, move on. It's freedom of speech, right?
Right, but my point was that I couldn't find any, when I initially looked, I couldn't find anything that was relating to what we were doing here. But I think it was before it was updated, because I never saw any of this. But anyway, my point is that maybe we need to let the people know on the email list,
Got
because
it.
maybe they
No.
don't know.
That's a good idea, Maria. I know. I'm sorry. That should be more well known. I'm so busy with IT. I run servers and websites all over the place, and I struggle with health issues. And Jim puts out the emails, but I will make a point to have him do that, because it's really important that people know it's here. And it just seems like such a waste. I mean, I can't tell you how many thousands of hours I have into the system, and other programmers, and my own $7,000 of my own personal money, Jim's money. I mean, we have all this money in here and all this work, and people come in and they don't use it. And the reason I set it up this way, I worked on the election fraud in 2012. And they were pulling something new in every state, and it was insanity. So I had started a group on Facebook called Lawyers for Ron Paul, and we were looking for lawyers in each state to address these crazy problems that we had: video evidence, we had affidavits, we had all of these things. And if we would have been connected, we could have known, what they were going to do in the next town. We could have alerted each other. And that's how I thought this system would work. So people are blocking people from coming in this county, or hiding information. Well, what did you do in this county? Okay, let's do it in this county. That's how I thought it would work. But you know what? This system is really a system for the people, by the people. The system is the people. And if the people aren't working together, I don't know what to do. I can't force them to work on, I don't know what to do. They say build it and they will come. That is the biggest bullshit lie I've ever heard. It's just not the way it works. I don't know what to do, Maria, but that is a good idea. We'll put it in each email to invite people to the system, and then get the video, the how-to video. It runs very similar to Facebook, so I thought people would be familiar with how to use it. It's pretty user-friendly, you know what I mean?
I share the same pain. Not exactly the same pain, but just I know that I'm putting all the news and everything. I invite people to get involved and all that, and the reply is like a couple of people show up, and I totally understand where you're coming from, so.
And I don't know about you guys, but like in my little town where I live, I'm telling you, 50% of the people here are sick.
What?
Sick. We're all sick from whatever is going around. I don't know what the hell it is, but people are sick, and we've got so many people dying of heart attacks, strokes, my neighbors dying in their sleep. I mean, this vaccine shit that's going on and whatever's going around, people are just overwhelmed. And with all the lockdowns, people are struggling financially. So I know it's hard for people to get involved. At least like here in my town, we're all overwhelmed just trying to survive,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
but look at what's happening.
Where,
My God.
Nikki, where are you from, Nikki?
I'm in Payson, Arizona.
Okay, because yeah, I keep hearing about, all the problems with the vaccine and stuff, but where I live in North Carolina, we still have a lot of people that aren't vaccinated, and I really haven't seen any of that personally, although people are getting sick, but I only know one person that's had it for more than a week. Everyone else has gets over it. So I don't know what the story is, but it's
This is-
crazy.
Yeah, this is a new wave. And Jim's daughter had the vaccine